Speedboats, missiles, and the Strait of Fear, the latest flashpoint in the Gulf. Part 1. Fire over the refinery. The situation in the Middle East has taken a dramatic and dangerous turn. On Monday, Iran reportedly launched a missile and drone attack on the United Arab Emirates. The strike set off a massive fire at a refinery in the eastern city of Wujha. An Indian national was injured in the blast. According to the BBC, this attack is believed to be the first time the UAE has been directly targeted by Iranian forces since the ceasefire agreement was signed on April 8th. That fragile truce, which brought a brief pause to months of conflict, now hangs by a thread. The refinery fire was not an isolated incident. It was a warning shot, and the world is listening. Part 2. 7 speedboats sunk. Hours after the attack on the UAE, President Donald Trump made an announcement. The United States, he claimed, had shot down 7 Iranian speedboats in the Strait of Hormuz. The operation was part of what Trump has called Operation Freedom, a mission designed to help stranded ships navigate the vital waterway. According to the White House, U.S. forces used helicopters to engage and destroy the Iranian vessels. Trump argued that the action was a matter of maritime security control. But as with so much in this conflict, the truth is contested. Part 3. Iran's denial and counterclaims. Iran's state media immediately rejected the U.S. version of events. They denied that any military speedboats had been sunk. Instead, they claimed that only small cargo ships had been hit and that the attack had caused civilian casualties. The dueling narratives could not be more different. The United States sees a successful operation to protect international shipping. Iran sees an act of aggression against its people. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, has warned that any vessels violating what Iran considers its sovereign control over the strait will be stopped. Iranian media has reported that vessels attempting to pass through the Strait of Hormuz have been forced to turn back. Washington has denied claims that its naval forces have been largely pushed out of the area. Part 4. A strategic waterway under siege. The Strait of Hormuz has remained a powder keg since February, when the United States and Israel launched airstrikes on Iran. In response, Iran closed the vital waterway, the passage through which approximately 20% of the world's oil and natural gas shipments travel. For global markets, the stakes could not be higher. Every day the strait remains contested, oil prices rise. Every day a tanker is blocked, the global economy feels the squeeze. In early April, the United States and Iran announced a ceasefire deal. Under that agreement, Iran ended its missile and drone attacks on Gulf countries, including the United Arab Emirates. But the number of ships able to pass through the strait remains painfully low. The United States has also imposed blockades on Iranian ports, further strangling the Iranian economy. Part 5. The UAE and the Wujha oil terminal. The attack on Monday was not the only strike of its kind. According to reports, the UAE's Wujha oil terminal was also hit. A fire broke out at the facility following a suspected Iranian attack. The terminal is a critical piece of energy infrastructure, and the damage, though not yet fully assessed, could have long-lasting repercussions. Meanwhile, shipping companies have attempted to navigate the dangerous waters. One U.S.-flagged commercial vessel successfully passed through the strait under U.S. military protection. The company confirmed that the vessel had completed its journey safely and that all crew members were unharmed. But Iranian Foreign Minister Ayatollah Ali Khamenei note this is likely a misattribution. The supreme leader is Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. The foreign minister is Hossein Amir Abdollahian. Has dismissed such claims. He said the recent events prove there is no military solution to the political crisis. He accused Operation Freedom of being ineffective, a propaganda exercise rather than a genuine effort to secure the waterway. Part 6. A War of Words. The conflict is not just being fought with missiles and speedboats. It is also a war of words, a battle for the narrative that will shape international opinion. Iranian state-run news agency Al Mayadeen, note Al Mayadeen is based in Lebanon, not Iran, this may be a transcription error, claimed that the Strait of Hormuz is under full Iranian control. It warned that any continued U.S. threat could be targeted. A senior Iranian commander, Ali Akbar Ahmadinejad, note the name Ahmadinejad refers to the former president, this may be a different official or a transcription error, added a chilling warning. Any shipping that does not coordinate with Iranian forces could be considered a threat. He went further, stating that any U.S. action affecting Iranian transportation or energy infrastructure would be met with a symmetrical response. These statements reveal a significant shift. Iran is no longer framing this as a military confrontation. Instead, it is presenting its actions as law enforcement, as if the Strait of Hormuz were Iranian territorial waters rather than an international shipping lane. Part 7. Accusations against the UAE. A day before the reported attack in the Arabian Gulf, Iranian state television leveled serious accusations against Abu Dhabi. Iran claimed that the UAE was involved in attacks on Iranian-held Syrian and Lebanese islands during the U.S.-led war. According to Iranian media, UAE fighter jets, drones, and unmarked A-16s, likely a reference to F-16 aircraft, took part in the operations. These claims have not been independently verified. They have, however, been widely circulated in Iranian media, helping to create a powerful narrative that regional actors are not bystanders but active participants in the conflict and therefore legitimate targets. The message is clear. If the UAE is attacking Iranian interests, then Iranian attacks on UAE soil are not aggression. They are retaliation. Part 8. The ceasefire holds, for now. Despite the escalating violence, President Donald Trump has stopped short of declaring that the ceasefire has been violated. In a telephone interview, he described the situation as not a major escalation. He added that tankers were on their way, suggesting that Operation Freedom was achieving its goals. But the assessment of the latest reports continues to mix rhetoric with credible claims. The conflicting statements suggest that both sides are trying to shape the narrative without triggering a full-scale collapse of the truce. For now, the ceasefire holds, but it is a ceasefire in name only. Part 9. Iran's new rules for the Strait. The pattern of events suggests that Iran is establishing a new status quo for the Strait of Hormuz. Under this emerging regime, access to the waterway would be subject to clear conditions and controls, all dictated by Tehran. Iranian political figures have continued to support this approach. They cite efforts to formalize shipping regulations. They argue that any role for the United States in organizing maritime access could be considered a violation of the ceasefire. The message from Iran's capital remains consistent. Passage through the strait will be tightly controlled. Any attempt by the United States to challenge that control could trigger a devastating response. Part 10. The threat of further military action. Behind the scenes, the threat of a larger conflict looms. According to a senior U.S. official who spoke to a news agency on Monday, President Trump may consider further military action against Iran if talks fail to produce a deal soon. The official said the situation depends entirely on whether the two sides can reach an agreement. If it fails, the official warned, there could be a major military escalation. The report also indicated that Trump still aims to pressure Iran while keeping the door open for diplomacy. His representatives, including individuals referred to as Quaher and Sebastian Loeb, names may require clarification, continue to exchange proposals with the Iranian foreign minister. But the two sides remain clearly at odds. As one official put it, there were talks, there were offers, but we were not satisfied with their proposals, and they were not satisfied with ours. Part 11. Operation Freedom, the spark that could ignite a war. Some observers believe that Trump's Freedom of Movement plan, the project to help stranded ships leave the Strait of Hormuz, could be the starting point for a direct military confrontation with Iran. According to U.S. Central Command, the military support for the project is massive. It could include more than 100 guided missile destroyers, fighter jets and helicopters, approximately 15,000 troops. This is not a small-scale operation, it is a warfighting force. The level of military readiness is staggering, and it suggests that the United States is prepared for the worst. Part 12. The Fog of War. What makes this moment so dangerous is the fog of conflicting information. The United States and Iran cannot agree on even the most basic facts. The U.S. says it sunk 7 Iranian speedboats. Iran denies this. The U.S. says commercial vessels passed safely through the strait. Iran says they were turned back. Iran claims it shot down a U.S. warship. The U.S. military denies this entirely. Iran accuses the UAE of attacking its interests. The UAE has not confirmed or denied these claims. In this environment, mistrust is total. Diplomacy is nearly impossible, and the risk of miscalculation, of one side misreading the other's intentions, is terrifyingly high. Part 13. What comes next? Several scenarios are now possible. Scenario 1. Diplomatic breakthrough. The talks between U.S. and Iranian representatives could produce a last-minute deal. The strait would be reopened. The ceasefire would hold. War would be avoided. Scenario 2. Continued skirmishing. The current pattern of attacks and counterattacks could continue. Speedboats sunk, refineries hit, ceasefire violations denied. A slow bleed rather than a full-scale war. Scenario 3. Major military escalation. The talks fail. Trump orders a large-scale military operation. U.S. destroyers enter the strait in force. Iran responds with everything it has. The region descends into open war. Part 14. The world watches. The stakes could not be higher. A full-scale conflict in the Strait of Hormuz would disrupt global oil supplies, send energy prices skyrocketing, and draw regional powers into a devastating war. The United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, and other Gulf states are already on high alert. Their energy infrastructure has been targeted, their citizens are afraid, their economies are vulnerable. And in the middle of it all is a 17-year-old girl who dreamed of escaping her circumstances, but whose story, tragic as it is, reminds us that the true cost of conflict is always measured in human lives. Part 15. The Unanswered Question. As of today, the ceasefire holds, but barely. The attack on the UAE refinery, the sinking of Iranian speedboats, the threats and counter-threats, the massive U.S. military deployment, the conflicting claims and competing narratives. All of it points in one direction, toward a confrontation that neither side may be able to stop. President Trump says he wants peace. Iran says it wants the strait to be secure. But their actions tell a different story. And as the warships gather and the missiles fly, the world holds its breath. The question is not whether there will be another clash. The question is when and how many will die before the fighting stops.